Hello, this is Tuesday, Wednesday, Wednesday, December 30th, 2020. Yes, so it's, oh my goodness, like 9 days since I last recorded and uploaded a video. I can't believe it. I think, as I might have mentioned in my last video, I think there's been pandemic fatigue plus cancer fatigue. To be honest, to be completely honest, it's been since late September, since this chapter in my life has started, and there's been a lot to adjust to, a lot to learn, a lot to um, just constantly just be thinking about and having time taken up with having cancer. And it's just a lot. It's just a lot because all of a sudden, like, there's like appointments, and sometimes they kind of come out of the blue, and there's a lot of different kinds of appointments, which I'm thankful for. But as someone who has traditionally up to this point been very wow, I have a lot of sleep. um, just been very protective about how I manage my time, just because, like I might have mentioned in the past, I do consider myself and identify as a highly sensitive introvert. One of the ways in which I conserve my energy and just sort of take care of myself is through just managing my time and trying to feel as though I have some semblance of control over that. And this, cancer diagnosis is really, and having cancer has just really thrown that totally out the window. I just have like calls all the time, deliveries, and having to be there at this time, blood drawn, um, virtual appointments, in hospital appointments, chemo, like tons of stuff. And so, for instance, because the holidays, I don't know if I had mentioned this in the last video, but chemo it would have landed on the 25th, which would have been Christmas, but the hospital was closed for the Friday and Saturday for Christmas Day and Boxing Day. So this cycle of chemo was pushed to the 28th, Monday, which would have been a couple days ago. So I've been meaning to get in front of the camera and just record. I was just going to do that the last couple of days, but when accumulatively, as I do more chemo cycles, because that would have been 5. This is my 5th cycle. Accumulatively, there's a level of exhaustion that I experience, and I'm just being a lot more mindful about my need to rest during chemo. And I think before I started chemo, I was on a roll with recording, mostly daily, just because I just get up in the morning, and I was getting up at a consistent time in the morning, and I would record. And now, and since I started chemo, I have kind of like this elaborate oral hygiene routine that I do. I got the okay from the oncology dental clinic to oil pull, and so far I haven't had any difficulties or issues with my mouth. So I'm just going along and keeping up with this particularly elaborate thing that I have going on. So I do that first thing in the morning, and there's like 20 minutes of like oil pulling that I do, and then I have to take my medications, and then I have to eat and all that. And then by the time I do all that, like, often there is, I know this sounds, maybe, I don't know how it sounds, but it's just because my energy can be depleted very quickly. I have like spurts of energy. So when I first wake up in the morning, I'm like, oh, I have energy. I do all that stuff though, but by the time I do all that stuff, I find myself a little tired. I just need to take a little bit of a timeout. And the same kind of motivation or energy to get in front of the camera and record, which was what I was doing before I started chemo in the mornings. It was a good time for me to do it. I need to find a better balance of it. But this morning, feeling all right, I did all those things, decided, well, first of all, that I haven't uploaded something in a very long time. So I wanted to record something again, like real time, just to let you know how I'm doing. I'm day 3. So because the 28th was my chemo in the hospital, and then yesterday, and then I had this pump again for 46 hours, and there's going to be a nurse that is going to be coming by in later on this afternoon. Something is happening between 10 and something is happening this morning. Okay, I know something's happening between around 10. Between 10 and okay, anyway, I'll figure that out. It's not quite, it's 8 o'clock right now, so I still have a little bit of time to sort that out. And I have a little bit of time before I watch Hot Stove on MLB Network, because as some of you may know, I'm a big baseball fan, and not just a Jays fan. I'm a big baseball fan, MLB fan. And that starts at 9 o'clock. And if you have access to MLB Network, which even as a cord cutter, I was able to figure out how I could watch MLB Network, because that's an important thing for me. Hot Stove on MLB Network is one of the best shows on television, honestly. Especially if you love baseball, but it just completely goes off the rails, and they just make fun of each other the entire time, and it's like just 2 hours of just like, I don't know, just silliness. But there's, they're experts, and they're also professionals and all that kind of stuff. But anyway, it is a good time, and I always kind of like watch the 2 hours and go, yeah, like I feel better having watched the 2 hours. So MLB Network, Hot Stove, during the off season. Okay, I've already like rambled on for 7 minutes, but I wanted to actually address the Q&A questions from months ago that were submitted. So here I go. Okay. There's a bunch that Sam had submitted back in, like a couple months ago, I can't remember now, that I will be answering. He did, first there was a big chunk of like the yes or no's, and then after that he had a bunch of which ones between two things. I'll be doing that right now. I'll do that right now. Or actually, first, I'll sandwich them. How about that? Because I have Nina and Sam and Iftikhar who had submitted questions. So I will first answer Nina's, and then do the whole giant list that Sam has, and then I will answer Iftikhar's question, which happens to be about baseball. Okay, so Nina, about a month ago, asked, how long did it take you to decide that you were going to share your journey with us? 2 seconds, 3 days? Did it even require conscious decision making? Just so deeply grateful and an absolute awe of your letting us in. Firstly, Nina, thank you so much. It's been such a pleasure getting to know you in the different ways that we have gotten to know each other last year. And thank you so much for your question. And I am also grateful for your friendship. How long did it take me to decide? I just decided to start recording because rather than like sort of like writing down and journaling, I thought that just like talking it out would just be more easier for me right now. And so I started recording. And once I started recording, I started to talk to a few people, a few very close people in my life. And I was just saying, it's like, it is an interesting thing, maybe even a compelling thing that perhaps people may be interested in learning about. On top of that, it's also a way for me to talk through what's happening for me. So it would be a record for myself while I'm able to maybe revisit them. But also, I think I got like a number of feedback about it. This is this new thing that I have going on. I look like a Japanese um, food market vendor or something. I gave myself a pandemic slash cancer losing hair um, uh, self home. I probably may have talked about it. It's just terrible is what it is right now. So anyway, I have a little bit of kind of hair and tried to shave down the sides and the back, but it's a bit of a mess. I need to sort that out. But in the meantime, this is the look. But just to go back, I got I think a couple of pieces of feedback that that sort of resonated with me. One is to be vulnerable about my experience is a way of being able to connect with people. And there's so much, especially with like social media and stuff like that. There's so much of a presentation, and there's a performativeness. And I mean, I'm not innocent of that. I think that when I say like the getting in front of the camera and like talking about my experiences, or like just I was explaining earlier about like this elaborate oral hygiene thing, and so as a result of that, the previous schedule that I had established is something that kind of went out the window, and now I'm just sort of finding moments, pockets of time when I have energy. But that means that when I'm finding those pockets of energy, in some ways, it's a way for me to be able to be up or perform. Because when I'm really tired, I mean, there isn't a whole lot that's going on. It's very like subdued and kind of down and a little bit maybe even gloomy at times. And I know for Joe, like it's really hard for him when he sees me at my most fatigued, where I'm just prone, like I'm just so tired, and you're not seeing that, right? So there is a performative aspect of what I'm doing here, but I'm also trying to be as honest and vulnerable as possible when I am feeling up to recording what's going on. So that went on a little bit too long, but what I'm trying to do to the best of my ability is to talk honestly and truthfully about my experiences. There are times when maybe again like I'm more performative. Yeah, I mean, and then I think there's a lot of different reasons for that. I don't like I want for people I want to be able to connect as a human being going through a human experience, but not necessarily to be pitied. But that's just my own thing, I think. And there's probably a lot more there to unpack. But so I'm trying to. So I got the feedback of, share your honest experience, or if you're able to share, honestly and vulnerably your experience, there's an opportunity to connect. And like I was saying about social media earlier, there's so much about presentation. There's so much about look at me, or this is, I don't know, like the ideal of how people should be living and all this kind of stuff. And then you hear about people like, dying trying to get selfies off a cliff and stuff like that. And it's like, wow, there's so much pressure to look and to present certain ways. But do we feel really connected as human beings? So, so through this experience and my sharing of it, I'm hoping that there is this connection that I'm able to make with you watching. And secondly, and I think most importantly, Joe had let me know that he wanted to know that there was a place where he can always go to visit me. And whether he does after I'm gone or not, for him to know that there's a piece of me somewhere that he can always access. And I think that that was what really sealed the deal for me. And in terms of how long that took, um, it was really important for me to be able to let everyone that I worked with know that I was stepping away from my practice before I started uploading these videos. So there still is a little bit of a lag in terms of catching up to sort of like real time. I have a few other videos from November that I still need to upload, and in December. Less so in December because I haven't been recording as much. But I think, yeah, completely what sealed the deal for me at the end, in terms of making the decision to share my story, is, yeah, Joe letting me know that he just wanted to know that there was always a place for him to be able to go to see me. So that was part of the decision making, a big part of the decision making. So that's that. Thank you, Nina, for your question. I think that was probably a super long-winded one, and didn't exactly. So it took. It was a process to get to a place of sharing these videos, and when I started sharing them, kind of feeling like, is anyone going to care? Are they going to resonate with anybody? Like, who's going to, that kind of stuff. But I'm so incredibly just happy to know that there are people watching and who are supporting me through this. So thank you so much. And so Sam had given me this other long list of stuff. So before he was yes or no, and this one is which one. So out of two things. So which one, ramen or udon? So they're both noodle soups, Japanese noodle soups. Ramen has a lot of different varieties of ramen, and udon, there is like a basic broth. The toppings could change, but in terms of udon, there's less varietals, I guess, varieties of udon. They're both very good. I have more ramen than udon. And with ramen, I actually preferred skimmen over other kinds of ramen. And if you consider hiyashi chuka as ramen, I would like, if I were to rank ramen, I think with udon it'd be, well, that's not true. You can rank udon too, and I like dipping things. So I actually like zaru udon, zaru soba, tsukemen. And if under tsukemen, if I could rank ramen, it'd be hiyashi chuka. So I'm kind of a weirdo when it comes to ramen, but I think in terms of which one, this is a tough one because there are different varieties, but both ramen and udon. But with ramen, I would probably say ramen because I eat more of it, because there's more varieties of it. But I love udon as well, and specifically, I love zaru udon with tempura. Which one? Uni ikura? Ikura all the way. Uni has to be super fresh, and it generally isn't. Salmon or tuna? Salmon in North America, tuna in Japan. Hamachikama or belly. So hamachi is a fish known as yellowtail, and there are different parts of it. So Japanese people love fish, and I love fish, and there are different parts of the fish that is good, especially when they're being prepared cooking wise, so grilled or broiled or whatever. And hamachikama is the belly, and then the collar area, and belly is the belly area of the fish. So you can actually have like salmon collar as well. So hamachikama is known as the collar. You can have shakekama and belly. Delicious, delicious, delicious. Both are delicious, but I prefer the hamachikama. the collar. Yaki onigiri ten musubi. I don't know what a ten musubi is. Tempura musubi? I don't like yaki onigiri. I like onigiri just on its own without it being grilled. I think it's kind of weird that they have to grill it. But I think a lot of people like the charred rice. I don't know what ten musubi is, but it sounds good. So I don't have a which one on that one. Which one? Kalbi or bulgogi? I'm probably pronouncing those wrong, so I'm sorry. They were Korean meat dishes. Kalbi. And there's two different kinds of kalbi. I like them both. Okay. Which one? Mets or the Yankees? Yanks. But the Mets this year, it's going to be, or moving forward, it's going to be interesting because there's that new owner there, Steve Cohen, or Cohan. Some people say Cohan, but I think it's Steve Cohen, who is incredible. Like he's been this incredible Mets fan all his life. He's a very rich Mets fan now who bought the Mets, and I believe, like I heard that A-Rod and J-Lo was also trying to be a part of the Mets ownership. Kind of glad they're not, to be honest. But anyway, so Mets are going to be exciting, but the Yankees, because they have a history, because of Derek Jeter, because of a lot of different things, even though A-Rod was a Yank, Robinson Cano was a Yank. But you can't win them all. We have like a Jay Slayer who's been a part of the Yankees for a very long time. Underrated player, Brett Gardner. And there is like this really great documentary about CC Sabathia. If you have access to, I want to say HBO, Crave, online, you can get like a 7-day trial if you're really interested in doing this. There is a really great biography about the documentary about CC Sabathia. That was just, it's a new one, and he actually talks about his alcoholism, and his battle with alcoholism, and his family talks about it, and also about his career, but also like a very specific focus on that part of his life and how it impacted him. It's incredible how open he is about it, and it's really, really great. Under the grapefruit tree, under the something tree. Anyway, great documentary. I would recommend it. Cork Bat. So which one? He says Cork Bat Pine Tar. Which one? I don't know. I mean, cork bats are illegal. You can't use them in the MLB. Shouldn't be. People use pine tar even though it's illegal. I don't know what to say about that. Because pine tar is used. It's one of those like open secrets, right? Whereas cork bats you can't use. I think under any circumstance in the MLB. I think. I don't know what to say about that. So, English or continental breakfast? Well, in days when I used to have a drink or two, maybe more, in very younger days, an English breakfast day after was something that was, seemed to be good for settling down the stomach, which probably wasn't, but, whereas now I do prefer the continental breakfast. It seems more continental. Which one? Nihon mai or jasmine rice? I've never really eaten a lot of jasmine rice. So Nihon mai. iPhone, Android. I'm an Apple girl all the way. I'm in the ecosystem. I don't think I can ever get out. Nintendo or Sega? We have a cat named Sega, but Nintendo. PS or Xbox? PlayStation, Sony. Kanye or Taylor Swift? Hey, so, I think that Taylor Swift seems like a very savvy, talented young woman. I have no clue whatsoever about her apart from that. There were Swifties, I guess, and people love her music. I don't know that I know a single song of Taylor Swift's, whereas I have a number of Kanye songs on my playlist. Although he's an interesting guy who I think has some issues, but a lot of brilliant and talented people often do. But I feel for his family. I feel for him because I think that there's a lot of stuff going on with him. So I yeah, I don't know what to say. So in terms of music, I am more familiar with Kanye's music over Taylor Swift. Sony Spider-Man, Marvel Spider-Man. Tom Holland as the Marvel Spider-Man, or is also a Sony Spider-Man because he's technically a Sony Spider-Man, but is has been negotiated to be in the Marvel Spider-Man movies. So, if my understanding of that is correct, so he is both, and I like Tom Holland as the current Spider-Man. Wasn't I've never been a fan of Toby like so. I think the question that you're asking is Toby and Andrew Garfield. They were exclusively Sony Spider-Man movies. And then when there was all kinds of stuff that was, I think, going on with Sony, they had their leaks and all this kind of stuff. And Marvel was trying to negotiate the use of Spider-Man license because when Marvel didn't have any money, they licensed a bunch of stuff out to Sony, and it's just a very strange thing. And even in the theme parks in Orlando and Disneyland and stuff, that's all messed up as well. But if I'm understanding your question correctly, I think that you're asking about Tobey Maguire and Andrew Garfield versus Tom Holland, and I didn't like Tobey Maguire. I know a lot of people have an allegiance to, I think, the first two Spider-Man movies at least anyway. The third one, I think it was the weird one where he kind of dances down the street and stuff, and Venom and all that kind of stuff. I don't know, I can't remember. But I've never liked Tobey Maguire as an actor, so there's that. I didn't think Andrew Garfield did a bad job, and I think he and Emma Stone had good chemistry together. In fact, Tobey Maguire and Kristen Dunst had great chemistry too, I think. But I think Andrew Garfield was too old to play Spider-Man, but so was Tobey Maguire. Whereas Tom Holland, I think, is a good age, and he, I think, is neat and fun. And when he first showed up, I want to say in Civil War, that was really cute. Even though no one ever questions this, but Tony Stark was incredibly irresponsible, taking this young high schooler away from his like widowed aunt to throw him in a fight like with superheroes. I mean, up until that point, let's face facts, whatever facts they are, but he was kind of doing this like crime fighting thing, right? In wherever Spider-Man's from. I think what Cap's from the Queens and he's from some, anyway, I can't remember. Anyway, so so Iron Man, Tony Stark, he throws this high schooler who up to this point had just been fighting thugs in the neighborhood, and throws him in with the most powerful people in the world, and like gets him to fight him in another part of the world. And like, first of all, you know, from a like a therapist standpoint, like, how is this kid not going to be like emotionally and mentally like messed up that these people are trying to like legitimately kill him with all these like superpowers, and like just like kind of ripped away from his home and like lying to his aunt and all this kind of stuff. No one's ever questioned this. How incredibly irresponsible it was of him to do that. I mean, like, yeah, I get that it's a great fan thing, it's fiction and all of that, but come on, that was crazy. Like, what, you know, can you imagine? And his aunt afterwards is like kind of cool about it and stuff like that. Like, I guess at this point in the timeline, because they super Spider-Man and all, it's insane. It's insane that they took this high schooler, threw him in this situation, It's been like, oh, and that's cool, you can keep the suit. I don't know, very strange. So that's what I have to say about the Spider-Man situation. I know you were looking for which one. I do enjoy um, um, the current Spider-Man, Tom Holland. Which one? Neo or John Wick? Hey, so whenever anyone says Neo, it sounds like Neo, doesn't it? A little bit. I liked the Matrix trilogy, and I know that I haven't watched them in a very, very long time. A lot of people say the second and the third one really stinks, or it's really whatever. I think that they did a crazy thing back in the day, the Wachowskis, in creating the Matrix trilogy. Maybe they haven't gotten better with age. Maybe I need to watch them again, but I don't like to rewatch movies. But what I will say about John Wick is that the first one, I'm not a person like that's really into violent movies and stuff. My sensitivity doesn't allow me to like watch a lot of stuff because I get too emotionally invested and kind of like traumatized afterwards. But what I will say about John Wick is and I say this to Joe all the time. There aren't a lot of Western movies that are surprising. Like you don't, I can kind of see the formula for a lot of movies and their storytelling devices sort of like a mile away, right? And you kind of know how things are going to end. John Wick, the first one, was so surprising to me. Like the sort of choices that they made, and even sort of like the violence and stuff like that was a little bit over the top and kind of like crazy. But I really enjoyed John Wick because it had an emotional heart to it. You can understand his motives behind what he was doing, and the brutality in which he executed a lot of what he did. You could, but it was almost like understandable, I think, from the viewer's perspective, because he was so pissed and in grief, and he has the ability to be that brutal that it was, that was kind of like tamped down for so long. It just got unleashed with his life just being dismantled in the way that it was. And yeah, so I have to say that like I don't know that I can choose between the two, because I think that they're both pretty incredible. But what I will have to say about John Wick, that especially that first movie, was like just didn't see it coming. Just didn't see it coming. And just by the way, we've decided to subscribe to Disney Plus. It was sort of a holiday present that Joe and I just decided to have for each other. So started watching Mandalorian, and I guess no spoilers, but there's a lot of borrowing. It feels like Mandalorian. I like it. Like we've binged the first season. We're gonna start on the second soon. But it's like we're watching it, and I'm like kind of calling out like, this seems like this one. This seems like this. This seems like this. But really enjoying it. I love the word Mandalorian, and I've taken to saying stuff like, instead of like holy crap or holy shit, I'll say Mandalorian. And I've been doing that for a little while. Like I just love the word Mandalorian. And lastly, from Sam, he asks me, tempura or karage? I like tempura. Good tempura. Uh, I'm not gonna find exactly the question that Iftikhar had left me, because I can't remember where it was left. But he did ask me about whether I've been to a Japanese baseball game, and I have not in my adulthood. This is maybe a far-fetched wish, but I do wish that I'll have another opportunity to go to Japan. I can hope, I can dream, I could wish, and if I have the opportunity to do so, there's going to be a bunch of literal bucket list stuff on that list for that trip, and going to a Japanese baseball game would be one of them, and I think that even though I don't have a team, Specifically, Yomiuri Giants game is, I think, probably what I would like to see. But at the very least, I would like to see something at the Tokyo Dome. I definitely would. And yeah, Japanese people and their baseball is a big thing. And excuse me, I was too young to have a team. I don't know that my dad. I mean, I'll ask my mom about that today. Don't know that he had a team himself. Probably, I'd imagine that he did. He's from Shizuoka, but I don't know what his team might have been. But yeah, it is an event. It is a very cool thing. It's very different from how it's a lot more like European football. I think that there's like the way in which, but in a Japanese kind of a way. And definitely, I would like to be able to experience that at some point, and hope that I would be able to. So, thank you for your question. And that's 35 minutes in to this crazy long update video. Thank you so much for watching. Happy holidays, and we're almost out of this 2020 situation, and that's all. Hope that 2021 will be a very different animal than it was from 2020. So thank you so much for watching. Chef's kiss. And as always, love and care. Love and care for yourself. Love and care for those around you. Love and care I tend to you. And maybe you can send some my way too. That'd be great. Yeah, I will try to find more of a regular recording and uploading. But apologies in advance if I'm not able to execute as well as I would like. Anyway. Take good care, and I hope to see you on the other side. Talk to you again real soon.